Доброго дня, друзі! Починаємо наш традиційний брифінг, присвячений фейкам та пропаганді держави-агресора.
Good afternoon, friends. We begin our traditional briefing on fakes and aggressor state propaganda. So, about Kherson, a city occupied by Russia. Here they launched their television broadcast with their traditional propaganda throw-ins of false information, which they had previously worked on Russian television. What does Kherson television tell about, while manufacturing its stories according to Russian handbooks, about biological weapons that Ukraine allegedly intended to manufacture and then used against civilians both in Russia and in Ukraine itself? Well, a complete delusion that has nothing to do with reality. We have talked to you about biological weapons many times. This is a fake that has been refuted by both Ukrainian and international, as well as Russian biologists and chemists. Do not believe the lie. Also, in Kherson, they began distributing leaflets calling for de facto submission to the occupying power. They say that there is no point in opposing and it's time to work for Russia. The armed forces of the Russian Federation are not at war with the Ukrainian population. Russia guarantees you peace and security. They lie in their leaflets. Of course, they came to our land, they killed thousands of Ukrainians, and they planted their puppet temporary Gauleiter government in Kherson, and maybe they will even hold a fake referendum there in the near future to intensify their propaganda. They use similar technology in another occupied city of Energodar, Zaporizhia region. Leaflets are also being distributed there in order to break the resistance of the local population and create a sense of inevitability that the Russian government has come forever. There will be no return to the former neo-Nazi regime. Russia has come to your region forever, and it won't go anywhere. They write in a leaflet, saying that a local self-government body has been formed in Energodar. This also means another Gauleiter from among the deputies of the opposition Platform for Life party, who was not elected by anyone, as well as the Cossacks, whom they appointed to act as local police. The only legitimate government in Energodar is Ukrainian, although they even repainted the inscription Energodar at the entrance of the city in order to continue the pressure the local population with information and propaganda, instead of yellow-blue, that is now white-red-blue, in the colors of the Russian occupation flag. Sooner or later, these cities will be liberated, and those who cooperate with the occupation administration and follow their illegal instructions will be held accountable under Ukrainian law. Another fake concerns an attempt by the aggressor country to steal personal data and spread the virus among internet users. The Security Service of Ukraine warns of a new cyber threat. Russians sent letters with the virus as if on behalf of the SBU. In this letter, they say that this is an instruction that should be saved on your personal computer, and this seems to have been sent by an SBU officer. It seems that this instructions contains an action plan for the period of the active phase of hostilities, a Google Map coordinates of shelters, emergency communications and instructions for recommended actions. Do not believe this and do not open these files sent by Russian propagandists. Another fake is about the intention of the Ukrainian authorities to strike with .U in NATO as S-21 Scarab-A missile on refugees at the train station in the city of Lozova, Kharkiv region. This is reported on Russian state propaganda channels such as Russia Today. As in the case of Kramatorsk, they first warn that it seems that Ukraine will do it, and then they strike with a .U missile. By the way, the excuse that they do not have it in service has already been refuted many times. In fact, Russia has repeatedly demonstrated in public events. As for the idea of intimidating the population, this is understandable, in order for humanitarian corridors and evacuation to take place not in the direction of Ukraine, as suggested by the Ukrainian authorities, but in the direction of Russia, so that people actually go and surrender to the state of the aggressor, thus to fill the people fund of Russia. Ilya Kiva also reapproaches the authorities of Mykolaiv that in the city there is dissatisfaction because of the lack of water, and it's true. I went to Mykolaiv and talked to the city authorities. As a result of the war started by the aggressor state, in which Kiva has now fled, improving the supply of drinking water is a priority for the city authorities. Blaming the government, which is suffering from constant shelling by Russia while being in Russia itself, is the height of cynicism. But what to expect from Ilya Kiva, if in his other publications he already directly justifies to directly inflict on Ukraine, on the state in which he grew up, was a people's deputy, evaded criminal responsibility. So he calls for a nuclear strike on Ukraine, thus trying to justify this scenario. He also says that this can put an end to this confrontation, not only with Ukraine, but also with the whole West, which is actively and openly involved in the conflict in Ukraine. Further, this influence of the West will only grow. If you think that a nuclear strike is not according to the rules, remember, the West invented these rules to make it easier to destroy you. It is difficult to comment on this point of view, especially if you understand that this person represented the people of Ukraine at the highest level in the parliament. A big question to those who led him by the hand into Ukrainian politics and put him in the chair of the people's deputy. I hope everyone understands who we are talking about, who headed the Ministry of Internal Affairs for 7.5 years and for whom Kiva worked as an advisor or head of the department. It is difficult to explain this from a scientific and medical point of view, because Ilya Kiva once received a certificate from a psychiatric hospital about his inferiority. He thus escaped imprisonment for corruption crimes in the Poltava region. Therefore, friends, we do not pay attention to this abnormal behavior. We remain calm. We trust the Ukrainian armed forces, the Ukrainian political leadership and the Ukrainian mass media. And to our foreign friends, since this briefing is also translated into English and has hundreds of thousands of views, I recommend not to trust Russian state TV channels, Telegram channels and propagandists, even if they were once members of Parliament of Ukraine. See you.